Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Anyway, this is my Saturn return video. Kind of like an update. Anyway, in the sky. Okay, anyway. So, Saturn isn't beating my ass, but it's threatening to, essentially, still. So, I'm 31. Your Saturn return kind of wraps its ass up. 32, 33. So basically I'm at approaching the end of my tarot, like not my tarot journey, my Saturn return journey. Like it'll go retrograde and shit like that. But my like major point of when it like enter, because my Saturn in Pisces is not at the end, it's at the beginning. So when Saturn went into Pisces, essentially that beginning stage is when like all shit like kind of like went. So I'm in kind of like the middle. I feel like I'm approaching like the 2/3 like mark type thing, right? So the major things that have kind of happened, like I've changed careers. I've essentially like dealt with like leading up to my Saturn return, like I got diagnosed diabetic, which is my ass, but it's also familial. Then PCOS. A few years later, around the same time I got diagnosed with diabetes, I got diagnosed with a skin condition, like hidradenitis or whatever. And so like those like things, and my Saturn return technically is around the 6th house, even though it's in Pisces and I'm a Virgo rising. My ascendant starts at 20-ish degrees, somewhere in there. It's between 20 and 25, some shit. So like I don't know what kind of chart it is, but I think it's the whole equal house chart where it's just like it starts at 0 to 30. I don't read like that because I just feel like reading it based on your actual ascendant is very nuanced. It's very like nuanced energy, and I feel like you can kind of really feel into your shit when you get more nuanced about it. So that's kind of like how I read, because my Cancer sun technically would be in the like 11th house, if it's a whole house, and then my Leo moon would be in the 12th. But technically, based on my 20-ish degree ascendant, my moon, which is like 18 degrees, technically falls into the 11th. My sun technically falls into the 10th, along with my south node, which is some bullshit. Just saying, like, who did this? Like, who wrote this up? Like, who made this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who made this? I would like to speak to them. But yeah, so it gives me more things, and I like, the older I get, I'm like, the more I just feel that Gemini South creeping up on me. I just feel it. Anyway, so there's that. So sorry, my Saturn return. Now that I've gone through all that stuff, I'm not like happy all this shit happened. You know, I'm not happy my grandma died. Like, what the fuck? But I will say, kind of like energetically, I guess losing someone, you just kind of like get over the fear that you'll lose everything. Generally, you're kind of just now like, okay, well, fuck it. Like, let's just go live life. And so that's kind of where I am. Just fuck it. Let's just live life. And yeah, like that's where I am. I don't really feel bad about wanting to live my life. I don't feel bad about trying to get my like life together. I don't feel bad about like pursuing things that I want. I think if anything, that loss made me just pursue things, because it's like you never know until you try, and then like you'll never know like when you're exiting stage left, and you may as well just pursue whatever you want to pursue now and get it over with, and either it'll be for you or not, and then move accordingly or whatever. So for me, I kind of feel like that made me overload sometimes of stuff, like overload opportunities and stuff like that. It's kind of like a greediness, a desire to fill, and a fill a void, and that can go like either way. My stomach itches with this, the ridge hits like your waist because of the waistband or whatever. So yeah, I kind of feel like that. Like I became like a lot more like I gotta like seize all these opportunities, and it really made me determined to do stuff. I'm slowing down a little bit because I'm like I'm slowing down a little bit because I'm just like, yeah, I'm tired. I'm like 30-ish now. I don't have the energy like I used to. And it was like when I turned 30, it was like, all right, you're elderly now. Go inside and wear the sweater. And shut the hell up and sit down. And get some icy hot because your back is gonna hurt. That's how I feel. Like as soon as I turned 30, it was like, sit down. Really sit down. Like sit down. So yeah, like physically, yeah. Saturn has made me aware of my mortality in a way that I don't think I was like prepared to deal with, but somehow have to deal with it. Like, I think at some point in your life, you kind of like come into that realization that you're gonna die. I discovered that when I was like really young, but I think kind of seeing it up close in terms of like very, very personal and someone very, very close to me, and I'm talking about emotionally, emotionally, like it's kind of a weird thing, right? And that like also with Saturn, time does heal wounds, but like the thoughts don't necessarily go away. Yeah, it's like weird. Like it's just weirdness. It's like a weird thing. Like you can get through the day, but like there's just times where you're just like not all wrapped up together, and it could be 30 years away from whatever happened. You just may it's just not something you'll get over, and you have to live with it. Not like you have to live with not getting over it, and it's that kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like, well, if you got over it like that quickly, I don't want to say like how attached were you, how much did you love them, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like someone dying and you like kind of thinking about them periodically gives you something to like live for or appreciate about life. Like you got to know them or something, and now they're not here, and you get to like, I don't know, you get to like think about them and stuff like that. And it's like it's positive, but there's like a pain there, Like I don't know if you would want to eliminate the memories of people that you love that aren't like here anymore. I don't think people would. I don't think the average person would opt for that, as painful as it is. I just don't think the average person like would want that. Okay, with that comes like a lot of, this is gonna be on my womb channel, but a lot of like just thoughts and unresolved issues that I had with people who are no longer here, and just having to like process that without them. Process them without them, like knowing how you really feel, is like one of those things that it's kind of like, I guess it's good because it's like now you don't have anybody to like cuss out, but like also it's like, well, now I can't resolve this the way I want. But yeah, so there's that. Saturn, when it comes to my discipline, I still ain't get disciplined, child, and Saturn is whipping my ass for that. But things that have happened have just been being able to stand up for myself, being a little bit more courageous, being a little bit more confident, knowing what I want, why I want it, being able to plan long term for things that I want. Those things are taking form and taking shape as far as my career and what I really want to do, and being able to do cost benefit analysis of pursuing certain things, really helpful. I have become more conservative and less desiring of, just less desiring of bucking the trend. Like, I don't know, like, I guess Saturn light in life and just wears you down. Like, there's certain things you're just about the world you're just not going to change, mainly people. And like, there's just certain systems in place and stuff like you just kind of become aware of, like, do you want to spend your time like fighting these things, or do you just want to live your life and have a normal life? Do you just want to have a normal life where you can just go out to eat, go shopping, get in your car, take a road trip, you know what I'm saying, work your 9 to 5 job or whatever, like, you know, like, you just want to live like a mundane, like you're not interested in bucking the trends. However, I find that living your mundane life while being also determined and long-term planning and stuff like that does give you a lot of freedom. Like, I don't know, like, there's something about it that gives you a lot of freedom to just be disciplined, even if it's a very mundane thing you're doing. Like, it gives you freedom. So the mundane things are really the things that if you don't do them well, like, you're not going to succeed. Like, if you don't, you know, looking at this house, but if you don't consistently clean, the energy is like very stagnant. If you don't consistently like wash dishes, then you won't have any dishes. You don't wash clothes, you don't have clothes. You don't clean your car out, it's gonna be junky. You know, like, you don't like go to work and show up on time, you won't have a job. Like, X, Y, and Z. And like, you just need that kind of stuff. Like, you need order. Like, I'm starting to figure out I need order, and where I need order, and where I'm willing to be like F it, and then where I'm willing to like know that like I need to be on top of this. I'm like more into that. I've gotten more into like spirituality, learning about my ancestors, learning about my ancestry, knowing that that is like a significant portion of like my spiritual progress, knowing my ancestors and kind of acknowledging them where whatever branch they're coming from, because some of them, like, I did get a reading on like ancestry, and it was very interesting because I'm like, we'll see. Some of it kind of is, I'm kind of feeling it now that I've like looked into it a little bit. I had to look into it. Some of it kind of does check out a little bit more, and energetically starting to kind of like connect when something is maybe tied to someone's experience that's been in my family as opposed to mine. And I had done that before my Saturn return, like a few years before, like when I was 26, 28-ish, somewhere in there. And that was the time where I was preparing to go to massage school and do that. So like knowing about somatics and knowing about wombs and energetic clearings and stuff like that, about that kind of thing, yeah, that was very significant to me. So yeah, turning the corner, things are looking up, they're looking brighter. So one of the better things to come out of Saturn is that I just took opportunities that helped me expand my creativity more and more, and it became a thing to where I'm now like actually moving forward with like more business things and creativity, and like having that outlet even as I work like a traditional like office desk thing part-time. Having that outlet is like really good, and it's kind of like, I feel like I have like a massage channel, and I'm gonna talk about this, but I like told somebody, I was like, I feel like being a massage therapist, like, it almost felt like it wasn't on my path, because when I tried to go, it felt like pharmacy technician was more my path than massage, because my massage jobs like felt stagnant, and they just felt stagnant, especially the second one, very just stagnant, like not like just I'm gonna be stuck here energy. And you know, my pharmacy technician jobs were like that, and I was just crying. But like those other ones, for it to be something that I worked like hard to do, and it was more on the spiritual side, it felt more stagnant. And so I'm at the point where like I'm not pursuing that right now, for a multitude of reasons, but I'm just not pursuing it right now. And I feel like the stuff that I'm doing, like my art and my writing and stuff like that, like all this shit is like taking off. Like even if I don't get published or get rejected from stuff, like it just feels like the opportunities, when one opportunity leaves and I get rejected, another comes in that might be a better fit. And if I apply for that and you weren't necessarily what we're doing, then another one, that leaves and another thing comes in. And I just feel like the energy is a lot more free flowing with like writing and stuff like that. And I just feel like that's, I'm in my flow. And I feel like Saturn, through your discipline, you ultimately go back to the things you really actually were interested in. And I was always interested in art and writing, particularly writing. Another thing I was considering is my Saturn return, but like that Saturn like halfway point, which is when you're like a teenager and healing the inner teenager, and the inner teenager dealing with, I was talking to someone about this like a few weeks ago, but like that inner teenager, those years are very formative in like things you end up pursuing and the ways in which you like try to like buck people, as far as like buck trends or rebel against people and stuff like that, and even good advice. You have all these things that happen in that teenage year, like you're growing and developing, puberty, all that kind of stuff. Like usually the first signs of like some major like trauma, even if it occurred like way earlier, come out. And I feel like it's also a manifestation through your body and how many body issues you end up developing as a teenager, teenagehood, all the way up until you're not a teenager, right? Up until 19, going to 20, because that's still teenagehood. So yeah, like I don't know, like very interesting shit. So I become more, I think, aware of a lot of things. I have become aware of my anger issues. I won't say too much about that. Then it's not gonna be the abstractionist. It's gonna be Tony's angry at the world. But yeah, like I just have become more like interested in stuff that I was like really interested in, and it's like almost like other shit was like ancillary, like, or like not even necessary. If I had had the confidence to just pursue writing, I would have just done that shit. And like I can literally see how not following what I wanted to do added, everything happens for a reason, blah 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 blah. But sometimes you take the long way around because your ass wanted to take the long way around and you were just fucking stubborn, and you could have done something in 5 years that you took 15 to do, and you got to deal with that. And that's how I feel, not listening to myself. And now I'm listening to myself. I don't even ask for advice from people, for real. The only thing I ask for a recommendation for shit. Other than that, your opinion is not really needed or wanted, particularly wanted. I just find that people are like, they get so much wrong about like how they perceive you. They get so much wrong. Sometimes they get it very right, and like you don't want that. I'm like, shh. Don't get so right that you like point out my shit. But yeah, like things are looking up. They're looking better. I'll be curious how I feel around the anniversary of my grandmother's death. It may be like a really sad time, because technically it's around Valentine's Day. So I don't know if I want to work to transmute that sort of energy or what. But as far as opportunities in life, it gets better. Life gets better. It never 100% goes away, but it gets better than like that experience. So that's my Saturn return. Basically, it's going to coincide with me leaving my MFA program, which is very momentous and very, very like, ooh. And it makes sense based on like where I was 15 years ago, wanting to be a fucking writer and giving that up for 15 years and then becoming a writer, specifically a poet. So there's that. All right, that's my Saturn return video. I'm tired as fuck. I'm gonna go eat food for real. This Burger King did not, it didn't hold me over, girl. I gotta eat real food. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.